Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining my show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. I'm a media and publicity expert, and today I have the gorgeous, the beautiful, the inspirational, this 5 a.m. club with me today, Dr. Erin Oksol, who is a psychologist and a high performance mentor for driven entrepreneurs, leaders, and team. And she's also a 6-time best-selling author. And today, Erin and we're going to be talking about the mindset of what it takes in here in our mind to be the best in your field, to be an expert, to be an authority. And then I were just talking earlier, like, nobody wants to be a leader. Like, I'm like, no, you feel it? No. But someone has got to do it because leadership now is bankrupt. It really is bankrupt. Trust is at an all-time low. I mean, like, nobody trusts the politician. Like, that's why they hide behind the podium so that nobody can see their body language. So I want to bring Erin up. Erin, welcome.
Dr. Izzy, you are amazing. Hello, everybody. Hello, listeners. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So, Erin, you are a psychologist. You've worked a lot with performers, top performers, with leaders, with trailblazers. Talk us about what kind of, like, first of all, how did you get there working with the best in the field and then coaching them and then leading them? What was the turning point in your journey that, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm best at, and I'm going to go for it?
Thank you, Izzy. So, I always wanted to be a psychologist since I was a little girl. I'm not sure why, but what a gift, right? To know what you want to be when you grow up. And I enjoyed graduate school, and I had a private practice for many years, and I loved it. I think I logged 17,000 hours of clinical practice. And in my personal life, though, Izzy, looking back, I think I would have said I was a high performer, but I would have been wrong. And I can explain that. I was the girl that got the straight A's in high school, graduate school. I didn't get a B in any of them. I mean, looking back, was riddled with perfectionism. And that really is just a fear that you're not good enough and you're trying to be good enough. And so I had a good run with it. I mean, I had a pretty good run, like 33 years of, performance addiction. And we can talk about that because psychology is finding that that's the number one struggle that people are having in the professional world right now and in just our culture. But through a series of events, I realized that perfectionism wasn't going to cut it anymore. And I became very depressed. And actually so depressed that when I took my licensure exam for psychology, I failed. And it was like that, see, you always were a fraud. It was like, it was like imposter syndrome had come full circle. And really it was just my clinical depression, right? But through the course of hitting my own emotional rock bottom, I then became obsessed with changing my life because I had to. And through that process, became obsessed with understanding, how did I get from a clinically depressed woman to one of the most happy people that I know? And I realized I wanted to teach this to other people like you, Izzy, like me, that were hungry for being their best self, their happy self, and also became obsessed with business and marketing and sales and all sorts of things and growing my own business. And so then I became very interested in how do we apply the psychology of success, because we actually know as psychologists what the high performers, top leaders, how they think and what they do. It's not a mystery. We know exactly what they do. And I was like, I want to go teach people this. And you know what? How I got here, Izzy, is how you got here, is how any leader gets there. So if we switch to leadership, how do you become one of the best? You actually just start at one.
Yes.
So I was at a swimming pool in our area, and I saw this stranger sitting next to me. And so, just like you, Izzy, if you were with your kids at the pool, I would start up a conversation because we just talk to everyone, don't we, Izzy?
Yes.
And I was like, what do you do? And she said she was a marketing guru. And she said, what do you do? And I don't know why I told her, Izzy, but I said, I'm a psychologist, but I have a dream on my heart to be a speaker and like sell out stadiums. Izzy, I had never spoken. I had such fear of public speaking that I fainted on internship in psychology. Right. Oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a public speaker. And I go, how does one become a speaker? And she goes, I think you speak. And I said, that sounds like a really great idea. And I said, how the heck do you do that? And she taught me. She's like, you invite yourself to the party. You figure out where are your ideal clients. Well, they were business women. And in the first year of my business, I spoke to 44 business networking events. And here's what I did though, Izzy. One of the things that leaders do is they get insanely curious. It probably doesn't strike you as a surprise at all when you realize that the best of the best are always curious. Harvard Business Review says this is like the number one trait. And so how do you speak? What do I say? How do you get invited to these things? How do I serve? How do I sell from the stage? How do I enroll a client? How? If you are not a lifelong learner, you won't be a leader.
Exactly.
You just won't.
And you mentioned something there that how do I get myself invited? And that's what I feel is the leader should be. They just put themselves out there. They're like, how do I get invited versus I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to pray and meditate and wait for things to happen, which is part of the spirituality of being a leader. You got to meditate. You don't have to, but it's something that I personally do. I pray and meditate. But then just, Erin, you mentioned it, you nailed it. Like, how do I get myself invited? How do I put myself in front of people? And it is one of the scariest things that you can do, but that's what leaders do. And then I love the fact that you touched the other part of it about being curious. Like me, I'm a computer scientist. I always love experiments, whether it's in the kitchen or whatever I do. I love experimenting. I love getting to know new things. I love maybe even in my business, maybe I'll try that one. And then we'll figure out what happens, what disaster happens, what works that. So kind of like bringing that in, Erin, with you like wanting to be a speaker, but you're so scared of public speaking. And that the biggest fear that people have, number one, is public speaking. Number two is death. People would rather go in the coffin than like speak on stage. So when you're working with leaders, especially with yourself, kind of you taking yourself from point A to point B, how did you kind of like overcome, especially that fear of public speaking? Because as leaders, we got to speak. Because some people, there's a quiet silence, there's a strength, but at times you do have to speak. So how do you overcome that fear? What was going on in your head? Was there something, a memory that you held into, or did you practice? Did you have your family? I know you've got 2 kids. Did you practice in front of them? What did you do to kind of like take that step forward?
Oh, there's so much there. It's such a great question, and you all can apply it to yourself. So there's so many psychological principles that we can lean into and understand that these will work for you. And I think one of the things that I knew as a psychologist is, and you're going to want to write this down, everyone, you have to behave your way into different thinking instead of thinking your way into different behaving.
Can you repeat that?
You're going to behave your way into different thinking rather than think your way into different behaving. So if I had sat on the couch and said, I will become a speaker when I feel ready and confident, and I am ready and confident, I would never have become a speaker. Okay. So that was key, is understanding that doing the thing is going to change the mindset around the thing.
Correct.
I also understood that fear is this like companion that might be along for the ride. It's highly annoying. highly unwelcome. But if you can have a relationship with fear and be like, oh, you're showing up right now. Oh, perfect sense you would show up because I'm about to give a speech. And the last time I did that, I fainted. Oh, that makes sense. Thank you for trying to protect me and saying abort, 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 right? And like, so part of what I knew and what I teach leaders is to understand how to have a relationship with these thoughts that come in, that they're not going to be the driver of the bus, so to speak. We've all heard that, right? That they're going to be there maybe in the back seat. And that I also understood the physiology of fear is the same as the physiology of excitement. And so when my brain was saying, what, after I became really good at it and loved it, I still get the same feeling in my body when I go and do a live event or a one-day event. And I'm literally like, why do I want to just turn the car around? I love this. This is my dream. Oh, it's just excitement. So there's many things to unpack, but I think the number one pillar that changed my life was understanding the concept of confidence. And as a psychologist, developmentally speaking, as a child, confidence is different than confidence in adulthood. Confidence in childhood is based on, are you safe in the world? Do people approve of you? Blah, blah, blah. In adulthood, this is going to blow your mind. In adulthood, the definition of confidence is, am I the woman or man that can figure things out? Now, I know that everyone listening on this podcast and TV show has done a really good job of figuring everything out till this point. They're here, okay? You have a great track record of figuring things out. And so when you take that vantage point of, I have no idea how to do this. I have no idea how to do a podcast. I have no idea how to grow a following on social media. I have no idea, but I'm a woman that can get good at getting good at things.
Yes.
And I knew, got it. I also knew, and I believe this was somewhat from God because it was such a good idea, Izzy, that I'm not sure it was my own, but it was this idea of, you better enjoy the journey because someday you're going to be the expert and you're going to be at the top and you don't want to miss the journey. And so I would, and I know the psychology too, and the neuroscience of celebrating every single win, even when it's sloppy. My first talk was in front of 8 people. You would have thought I was talking to the Pope. I was so important to me. I was so nervous. It was this small little coffee shop in this podunk town in Nevada. And I mean, I treated it like these were kings and queens. And I got my first client that day that just handed me $3,000. Izzy, I was like, I guess I better figure out what I'm going to do with this $3,000. I mean, you know, and so you figure it out as you go, understanding that you're going to climb what I call the bad, good, great ladder. You've got to be willing to be a leader. You've got to be willing to be kind of bad, to be kind of good, to be great. You've got to understand, oh, as Brendan Burchard, my mentor, said to me when I met him, he said, there is no failing if there is learning. There is no failing if there's learning. The first talk I gave, I had no contact information, Izzy. They're like, well, how do I get in touch with you? I'm like, oh, that would have been important. I mean, it doesn't. There's lots of other mindset things about leadership because once you're a leader, there is a big people elicit big responses.
Absolutely. And I love what you say about confidence. It's about you figuring things out. It's like you start something or you have an idea, just like you mentioned earlier, curiosity. So you have this idea and then you figure it out one step at a time. And then certainly whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter, like how big it is, how small it is, but you start, you have an idea, you're curious about it, you explore it, you figure out the things in between, and then you complete it. I feel that's where my confidence or my satisfaction appreciation comes. Start, figure it out, and completion. A lot of people, they do 1 or 2 or 1 rather than 1, 2, 3, because it is the completion.
How they're going to do step 1, or they're getting ready to do steps 1, 2, and 3. No, we're not going to get ready to get ready. We're going to actually do the steps. Okay.
Correct.
So you have to be a person of action too. So leaders are people that they have fallen in love with what Seth Godin says. They are addicted to shipping out their work into the world. I have trained my brain, and you can train your brain to be like, get a dopamine hit when you take a little step towards your goal. You're like, look at me building my empire. What did you do? I just made a post. And you're like, well, that doesn't build an empire. I know that it all does. And so I've trained my brain to look at those micro behaviors. And you could do that too.
Absolutely. And the part of enjoying every part of your journey, right? Not just because people are so set on just getting the result, but they forget who they are being, who they are becoming in the journey, the things they have overcome, the things they have to explore, the things when they fall down. And when Lady Gaga said in her Oscar-winning speech with a beautiful black dress, it's not about winning. It's about how many times you get back up again. You know, so that is just
Lady Gaga.
Exactly. And I feel that woman is brilliant, you know, like, you know, the things that her vision, like how many times have people told her she can't sing, her nose is too big, she doesn't, you know, she's just not pretty. How many times have people said her, but yet she is an Oscar and Emmy winner. She's won multiple awards. Her record sells millions. But that is about not giving up. I feel like the same with Tom Brady. At 44, 43, I mean, he was playing football. I think he's come back. I don't know. But no athlete in his lifetime lasts for that long. And you can bet it's not a walk in the park. So I wanted to kind of check in with you, Erin, because I know you've gone through multiple events. You shared in the Woman Who Leads Summit, multiple events that led you to a certain place wearing a certain color. I'm like, oh, no, did that really happen? Like Erin did actually wore that color in that place. So how do you get back up again, Erin, as a leader? How do you get back up when you made a mistake, when things go on a disaster? Because often I see leaders when they're top of the game, and then something happened, they just crashed down like Tiger Woods. He was at the top of his game, And then suddenly something happened, big in his life. He has never been to that place again. So, but Michael Jordan, when he was like at rock bottom, when his dad passed, he was able to get back up again and win. Like Tim S. Grover called him the cleaner. So he is one of the best all-time basketball players. So how do you get back up again, Erin, when things just go messy and south and pear-shaped and just exploded?
Here's what I want people to know about leadership. And it's the number one reason why they don't go for it, because they're terrified of this. Most people are actually more scared of success than failure. We've got the data to prove it. You'd be like, what? I have this dream. Excuse me. I have this dream. Why would I be afraid of it? They're afraid of that very thing of, I'm not going to be able to hold it all. I'm going to lose the very things that matter most to me. If I create this ginormous team, if I become famous, right? And so what I really believe separates the ones that crash and burn from the ones that don't is their training along the way. And so I like to think of it like this, like when the pandemic happened, I had this feeling in my brain of, I've been in training for such a time as this, meaning not that I was better than anyone, but that I was going to weather this storm in a different way than I would have 10 years ago. My brain has been in training for such a time as this. And so as you build your emotional intelligence, your emotional mastery, your ability to work with the ebbs and flows of this journey of entrepreneurship that is brutal at times, you create what I call this bounce back ability, which is called resilience. And your time of suffering is shorter and less frequent. So now I only cry myself to sleep and I get up the next morning and I'm good to go. So you create this, like, I'm not out for 2 weeks. Okay. Right. High performers and leaders don't have the luxury of having a bad month. You can have a bad half a day. You're human. but you will build resilience and you will learn how to, by the questions you ask yourself. So the how, you ask the how, it's the questions you ask yourself. So when suffering enters, we want to ask ourselves, you again? Like, what do you want me to learn? Because you're going to keep knocking until I learn this one. And I would actually like you to stop visiting me. So what would you like me to learn? Or I wonder, as a leader, this is the crazy, wonderful question to ask yourself. I wonder when I will be able to share this leadership lesson that I'm learning right now. I wonder who it'll be. I like the wondering technique a lot. It's the curiosity. When you're suffering, ask yourself, I wonder who I'm going to be able to bless, because this is awful. And then you'll see in later time, oh my gosh, it was for this person. I had to go before her so that I could help her get through this. That helps make meaning of the suffering. Because when I said you got to enjoy every part of the journey, what I meant was the stages of serving one person, of being willing to be small. I am not saying you have to enjoy every step of the journey emotionally and psychologically, because it is that you are a human being. And so you will build the resilience, and you will become the person that can hold the weight of leadership. My mentor said, it's not like the weight becomes less heavy. You get stronger at holding heavy things.
Your container expands. I would say the container, your vessel, who you become.
It does.
And also kind of like this part of bouncing back, right? Definitely take time for yourself, whatever, a few hours, half a day. You just got to do it because you're part of a human being, and it's okay. Because the last thing, if you don't do it, you're going to be like holding it in, and it's not good for you or anyone else. And I love the part that you said, what lesson are you going to be in? Like the way I see it's good. This is a gift, right? This is a gift. What is part of the package that I sign up to?
I love that.
You're buying a Tesla, right? Oh my God, it's so complicated, the electronics, the insurance, everything else, right? But you want a Tesla. So that is part of the package that you sign up for. It doesn't matter what car you drive, but it's kind of like that kind of feeling is part of the package. And if you just have patience and trust and faith and compassion, like this is the lesson you mentioned, Erin, like what is the lesson? Because otherwise it's going to come back over and over and over. The similar pattern or something slightly different, but it's the same thing. Why is this thing coming back up again? I'm sure like you've heard people in your practice say, why is it happening to me again? Why is it like, and then they're like, God, this. And I'm like, no, it's not about God. It's about you not getting the lesson on what it is. So what is like one of the most heartfelt lessons that you have ever experienced in your moments, in your journey, in the process? What if you personally, Erin, what is the most heartfelt lesson that you have experienced yourself?
That's a great question. I think this pertains to leaders as well, because if you're a leader, you have a vision for something that's so big that you alone cannot do it. And I think the most heartfelt lesson I've learned is, if God has put a dream on your heart, it's meant for you specifically. And my job is just to do everything I can this side of heaven to see it through, and to not be addicted to the how, but to be the woman that's willing to show up for finding out.
That is beautiful.
That's all that's required. And I think I don't have to have it all figured out. I just have to be the one that says, okay, God, what are we going to do now? I mean, I think I've really learned the greatest leaders are co-creating with a higher power than themselves. Robin Sharma talks about it. All the greats talk about it. Okay. And it's this, but I want to quit, but no, I know I can't quit, because that's just silly, but I'm going to quit for this afternoon. Quitting's one of my favorite leadership strategies, actually. I quit all the time for like 2 hours. I'm like, I'm gonna quit. And my friends will be like, okay, see you tonight. I'm like, okay.
It's just that kind of thing that you mentioned that, oh my God, like, all right, I don't want to do it anymore. And this, and then you like you said, like at night, a few hours tomorrow, like, hello, here I am. I'm ready to go. You've got like everything ready to go. And that co-creation part and the not knowing all the steps is key in any leadership. Like when you want to go up the stairs of a building, you don't see the top of the stairs. You never do see the top of the step, but you see the first few steps and kind of trusting it to that it's going to go all the way to the top and having that co-creation, whether it's spirituality, whether it's the higher power, whether it's God, whoever it is kind of like, this is what I can do. I've done everything. And you put in a corner. I've done everything, nothing else. You're crying and everything. And then just let go and let God. That's the moment where I feel like the doors open or opportunity comes or the right people come in or you see something which is absolutely beautiful. I also want to touch a part about family, because I know you have a family and you have a very strong relationship with your husband. I've seen that picture, Erin, when you kind of cheekily touching the bum of your husband. I've seen that picture. So leaders, this is what people think. If I'm being successful here, I can't have a successful, a good family life. It's either an or mindset. But you've shown that, hey, you know what? It is possible. It's going to take a whole different person. You know, it takes a lot of things to have juggling that balls. So what are kind of like a couple of tips that you would say that women or leaders or male or female can have that? I don't ever think there's going to be a balance, but I do feel that it's possible to have both. So what are the tips that you can share in order for us to have a good life for both?
This is exactly why I'm obsessed with high performance, because the very definition of high performance is that you have success over the long term without it costing or at the expense of the things that matter most to you, like your relationships and your health, which fascinates me. How do the highest world-class business titans, the elite performers in business, athletics, etc., how do they do it in every area of their life? And the psychology of that is something that will blow your mind. It is alignment. What is alignment? Alignment is figuring out your self-identity and living your life in alignment with that person. And so I do have world-class business, and I have a world-class marriage, and I have a world-class relationship with my children, and I have world-class health, and I have world-class friendships, and it's based on, and I have a world-class relationship with my higher power. Because high performance is about having it all. And like you said, it's not balance, it's full alignment. And there is a way to do that. One of my greatest tips, though, on that is to share your dreams and onboard the family. And so when I started my business, my husband's way smarter than me when it came to this. He sat the children down and he said, Mommy's going to be doing a thing. Mommy, we're going for this, and we're Team Oksol, okay? And so things are going to look a little different around here, so that things can look a little different around here. And this is how we're going to, you know, share the victories. We'll make thermometers. There's a thermometer on our kitchen wall right now of the next goal that we're building towards. It's an electric truck for my husband. And the kids fill in the thermometer of how we're doing in terms of saving for that. When you onboard your family into your dream and make it also about them and what they're getting out of it, one, they're learning. I have these parents that dream and they go after things. That's priceless, right? But when we were at Disneyland, because of me building the business for the first time ever, Emily looked up at me and said, she said, Izzy, she said, Thank you, Mom, for growing this business. I hope you'll teach me how to grow a business when I grow up. They don't resent the success. They don't resent the time. So there's an onboarding of the family of this. There's no compartmentalization. I guess that's the best way to say it, isn't it, Izzy? Yes. There's an integration of all that we do. When you're a high performer, everything, there's no compartmentalization of, I'm just going to be great here and I'm going to let that go to the wayside. That's what it is.
Absolutely. It's the alignment of all of that. And I truly don't believe that we'll ever have balance except when we're in heaven. When we're in heaven, everything goes, right? Like we don't have to do anything. But I love the fact that you kind of like bringing in your your two children. You have a son and a boy, and then a son and a daughter with Emily. And what's your son's name, Erin? Zachary. So Zachary and Emily, and then her husband, like coming together. And that's just so beautiful what Emily said in at Disneyland. Which Disneyland? Was it here in California? Oh, no way. Oh, that is so cool. So having Emily saying that because she's not resisting your success or your husband's success. Often than not, we see children acting up because parents are working so hard, which is rightfully so as a parent, because you want to provide the best for your children, but children would act up. And then kind of bringing Emily and Zachary into the picture is absolutely like incredible. And just, just yesterday alone, when my son asked my daughter, so what do you do? And Nadra was like, well, I speak to people, I go on interviews, I write books, I go to school, and so I'm like, it's just, some of the things I'm probably more unconscious than you because you have the awareness. I'm like, okay, come and do this interview with me. Okay, come and do this training with me. Or but it's the thing, isn't it, Erin, the things that children picks up when you get them involved together. It's absolutely like, oh my God, it's a game changer. It is a game changer for us as parents, for us as a wife or a husband that's listening to this, to the people, to the community, the people around us. Do you feel that when you're in this space, when you have great relationship, you have world-class relationship, the people around you, they kind of like be in your space? Like my best friend was like, hey, I want to write a book too. I'm like, okay, let's kind of like they had the courage to kind of like go for the dreams, even though their dreams are different than yours. So let's wrap it up with kind of what are the trickling effects that you as a leader, now leadership can be good or evil, like it can be good or evil. You can lead people to places that you shouldn't lead people, or you can lead places to the place that you meant to be. So let's look at the trickling effect that you have as a leader, but sometimes people are not aware of, especially in your actions or in your words or how you behave around the people around you. So can you share some of the rippling effect that leaders have that they may want to rewire or bring it to awareness so that they can have the most beautiful and impactful rippling effect to society that brings the highest good?
Oh, you guys, like, listen how she asked their questions. Just her question is making the world a better place, Izzy.
Oh, thank you.
You're an amazing, beautiful woman. Thank you for the work you're doing. Leaders do three things. They teach people how to think. They challenge people to grow. They're always challenging people to up level, and they role model the way. And so there is great responsibility with leadership. And so one of the things is I learned from the great Oprah Winfrey. We all learned from her.
The queen of talk shows.
The queen. She started every meeting at Harpo Studios for 25 years with her staff with the same question. She would enter the room. They would be sitting there at the boardroom, and she would enter, and I'm going to impersonate my Oprah. She would say, "What is your intention for this meeting?" High performers live with intention. It's kind of the one thing that's their superpower that makes everything different. So the greatest little trick I can teach you is if you are a leader, every transition you make throughout your day, and Izzy did this before our podcast, so cool, is you set an intention. And what does that mean? It says, who do I want to be here? Who needs to show up? How emotionally masterful do I need to be? I need to be emotionally intelligent. I am leading the way. May my words be empowering, true.
Yes.
Right? So every transition you have throughout your day, ask yourself, what is my intention for this? What is my intention for this? When you walk home through the door and you're the leader of your household, what is my intention for the mother I want to be today? What is my intention for how I want to show up when my husband comes home tonight? What is my intention for this meeting? And if you practice this over and over, you will show up and you will become and rise up into the person that you need to be. It doesn't just happen.
Yes.
It happens with intention. So ask yourself, what kind of leader do I want to be? And then find maybe 3 words that describe that, and then show up as her or him. What would it look like if I showed up as a blank, blank, blank leader? Oh, okay. All the answers are inside of you. If you ask that question, that leader is inside of you. She and he is already there. You just need to ask and consult with them regularly and listen and do what they say. But you need to listen.
Exactly. And the power of intention, because there's this saying is that every man and woman shall get what he or she intended. Like it's a guarantee, it's a divine prophecy.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, every man and woman shall get what he or she intended. How it may look like, how it turned up, when is that going to happen? It's on divine's timing. But it is like every man and woman shall get what he or she intended. And I feel that the more you kind of consult yourself, what is my intention for doing this? What is my intention? What is my intention of being with this person? What is my intention of doing this collaboration today? What is my intention with my team member today? Things are just, Erin used the word alignment. Things are just going to come to alignment. Some people feel it as a vibe. Some people feel it as a feeling. Some people have mad trot coming, like ching, the sign coming in. Some people have dreams or vision, whatever that one is. I have a feeling of things. Because if I ask that, God, just show it to me. Like I don't think I'm ready for the sign, like something coming at me. But that is absolutely beautiful. And what a beautiful conversation today. The most heartfelt impact that leaders can have, the criteria that you can be to have a rippling effect, what you can do to balance between let's not balance, but have an alignment between world-class relationship that you want in all areas of life. Because I feel like as leaders, it's not a sacrifice. You don't need to sacrifice one or the other. That is like, that's a way to balance, as shown by the top leaders, the legends, the trailblazers of our time. So Erin, darling, let's finish up the interview with one final question. What is one fun thing that you love to do that nobody knows?
Oh, psychologist in me. Okay, you might not think this is fun, but I love reality TV. I do. I'm like, let me analyze all of you. Okay, let me analyze. And I also love bodybuilding. So my daughter and I competed, and so I love lifting weights. And
right.
I love my reality TV.
Oh my God. Like the other day alone, I was watching this show, Love is Blind. It's like a reality show. Yep. And I'm thinking, why do you even do that?
Why would you watch? I don't. And why would anyone like me waste my time watching them? Because it's just all good for me. It's all
exactly good. Like, and then I laugh, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that in my life. Thank you for that. Thank you for that message. It's just
you can have it all. You can watch stupid TV and be a high performer.
Yeah, exactly. You can have it all. And what a beautiful conversation today, Erin. I really thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I hope everybody has got lots and lots of value to it and take the pieces that is most alignment to you to implement it in your life so that you can have an impactful, a beneficial life that is full of joy, full of love, full of happiness, and figure out a way. It's just about confidence. It's about figuring things out and then, making it happen. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching the show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. Erin, if people would want to find out about you, where they can get in touch with you.
Oh, thank you. And on all the social media, I'm Dr. Erin Oksol, OKSOL. If you want to talk with me, talk with drerin.com. Talkwithdrerin.com. But you find me there. Thank you, Izzy.
My pleasure. And until the next episode, if any of you would love to share your voices on prestigious platform, whether it's becoming a best-selling author, media, TV, magazines, Forbes, TED, reach out to izdiharjamil.com. And finally, thank you for listening. This is me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. Tell yourself, yes, I can. And so it is done. Erin, say goodbye.
Bye.